Hey guys, first regards from here. I'll be talking about a Omniscient Block Axe build using the brand new buffed perk Battlefield Repairs on the Techmarine class. Now this perk actually got buffed in a hotfix recently, and now has the perk effect any team member restores one additional armor segment for each finisher on Majoris or Extremis enemies. This perk is really fun to use. Now, unfortunately, this perk does not trigger on Gunstrike finishers currently, which does kind of suck. Hopefully they fix that again in another hotfix, but for now, it's still a pretty strong perk. I think the perk effect here is much improved over the previous one. And also, we have a brand new perk buff with Inexorable Salvo. This one now reads, while the servo gun is activating, you don't lose control of heavy hits and you cannot be knocked back. And the effect will last 15 seconds after deactivation. And because of that, we can finally use the block Omniscient Axe far more effectively, because the light attack on this weapon does not have a no knockback effect, but the discharge it does. So you can actually get those off far more easily now. So for this weapon here, I am building on the block version. Now I do think the balanced one is a bit better, just because balance does give you like overall more gun strikes, and gun strikes are worth more in this class in my opinion. But that being said, the block axe is still really good for like the bottom tree here, which I'm building into for once. So first up, we take Perpetual Speed for a melee attack speed increase of 5%, moving here into the perk Cleaving Strike. The light combo attacks with this weapon deal damage to nearby foes around the target. Now, this perk is actually pretty good for horde clear, but the main synergy on this option is when you take this and you take the perk down here, Executioner. This one reads, let your discharge damage increase by 25% against foes hit by your light combo within the last 5 seconds. Well, you see the obvious synergy here is that your light attacks will have a cleaving AoE, and you'll get more damage on a discharge from that. It'll hit more guys with your light attacks, so a really good synergy on that option. Next perk here is Perpetual Speed again, and I have kind of noticed that when you take both of these melee speed attack increases on the block version, you actually hit like a speed cap or like a speed breakpoint basically to use your light attack into a discharge on double block charges before a Ravener's final hit can hit you. So pretty useful on that. I haven't like fully tested that, but I do think the speed increases are right here. Next perk is Kill Streak, moving here into the perk Supercharge Follow-Up. After power discharge, the next light attack is a powerful sweeping whirl. I think this perk is like okay. I don't really use this too much. Like maybe like 1 out of every 10 attacks I'll actually use this, but it's better to have than not, I guess. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, moving down here into the perk we just talked about, the Executioner. And then we grab the perk Energized. This one says, while charging and releasing electric discharge, you don't lose control of heavy hits and you cannot be knocked back. This is a nice form of no knockback on the discharge. You don't always use this because Inexorable Salvo is much better now, but still a decent option to have. The final 2 perks here are Rapid Charge for charging our electric discharge 40% faster, which is just a must-have on like any Omniscient Axe build in my opinion. And the final perk is Mighty Blast, which says power discharge can hit twice, keep holding to release a second shockwave. And this perk hits a breakpoint to 1 combo enemies like the certain amount of block charges. Pretty good on both the balanced and the block version. And if you're building for discharge, you just take these 2 perks because they're just really that good. Now, for the primary here, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Rifle Deathwatch. I just think this is like the best primary on the Techmarine currently, mainly because the Techmarine really benefits from the instantaneous CHP recovery on the grenades on this thing, on top of the stagger, on top of the fact the gun itself is actually quite good. Now, for the perk tree here, I do build all the headshot perks first. Number 1, Headhunter, here into the perk Adamant Hunter. When your health is below 30%, headshots will deal 25% more damage. This is a pretty nice perk to have, though I will say, when this is active on Techmarine, being below 30% HP does kind of put you into one-shot territory on this class, and it's a pretty dangerous place to be. But you do have perks like Rapid Health later down the tree to like kind of circumvent that, so it's not up for too long, and when it is up, the damage boost is quite nice. The next perk here is Fast Reload, moving here into the perk Able Reload. After using a class ability, the equipped weapon instantly reloads. Now the servo gun is very easy to turn on and turn off, turn on and turn off again, which means you can actually trigger this off cooldown quite easily. Pretty good perk option here, and the reload time on the heavy bolt rifle isn't like god awful, but being able to instantaneously reload definitely helps out. Next perk here is Headhunter, up into the perk Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, and non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Now, this perk will make you lose 10% damage on your grenades, but that doesn't really matter too much for the CHP recovery. Your CHP recovery here is still top tier, and dealing 20% more melee damage, or excuse me, headshot damage, is definitely worth it. Now, we move down here into the perk Great Might, and then we also pick up Increased Capacity for better ammo reserves. This will also up the total amount of grenades we have. And the next perk here is also top tier for us, which is Recoupment. Killing a Majora's level or higher enemy with a headshot of this weapon restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk comes into play all the time. This actually gives us not one, but like 2, 3, and 4 sources of armor regen on this build. So pretty good option here. And being able to get an armor back on like a Devourer hit or like a sniper you're shooting is just super valuable for you. Next perk here is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies rapid succession restores your health by 10%. Being able to get HP back on this class is invaluable. Being really low HP on this class in general is a death sentence because you have basically no HP or damage reduction, and you also have a grenade launcher, so triggering this perk is quite easy. Next perk here is Perpetual Penetration, and the final perk is Divine Might for a 10% damage increase, and that's pretty much all there is for the Heavy Bolt Rifle. Now, for my secondary, I do take the Inferno Pistol. The Inferno Pistol actually makes up for a lot of the lacking Horde Clear on this build. The block on the Cyan Axe is just not as good like in a Horde while you're fighting Majoris and Minoris. So the balanced one's definitely better for that. So having a Inferno Pistol just shoot on like the backtrack is really damn useful because the perk here, Trick Shot, will give you armor back on the regular. Now, the variant I choose is the ammo reserve option because I think having a fatter magazine capacity is overall better. But if you want to take the rate of fire one, this build is not too ammo hungry, so you can definitely do that. Either way, I would set up the perk tree this way, going with Perpetual Range first, moving here into the perk Brace Reload, and then I grab the perk here, Perpetual Range again, up into the perk Great Might, increase capacity, and the perk Adamant Restoration, because ammo restoration built into your secondary is godly, and you pretty much always want this perk. The penalty perks here are Extra Shot and Trick Shot, because Trick Shot is just amazing for armor restore for the reasons I previously mentioned, and that's pretty much all there is for our overall weapon selection. Now for the Techmarine perk tree, I do take the standard servo gun option, mainly because with the burn perk down here on the Sia's Fury, it sets enemies on fire with your servo gun shots. This is one of the best options in the entire game, in my opinion. I actually think this one might be a little better at times than the Plasma Incinerator version with the Omniscia Fury perk, mainly because it gives you way more CHP recovery. It's also very easy to turn on and turn off again because these servo gun shots are like pretty much instantaneous. Now, the perk here, Explosive Enfilade, after using equipment, your range damage increases by 15% for 10 seconds. This is pretty nice, like throw out a grenade, stagger a like Devourer or something, get like a free range damage buff for your grenades and your bolter portion. Pretty nice for that. Moving here into the perk Arc Cleave, damage from charged melee attacks increases by 20%. If you are taking the Balance Omniscient Axe or the Block Omniscient Axe, you just take this perk. It is a 20% multiplicative melee damage increase to your discharge, and discharge is like the best attack on this thing anyways when you're not charging. Now, the next perk here is Push the Advantage. After a finisher, your melee weapon deals 20% more damage for 15 seconds. Now, this one is not as good as Arc Cleave, only because the 20% buff here is additive, or this one is multiplicative. Still pretty good, and also fits our gameplay loop of getting our armor back on Battlefield Repairs. And this brings us to the next perk, which is Battlefield Repair. Any team member restores one additional armor segment for each finisher on Majoris or Extremis enemy. Now, like I said at the intro of this video, this does not work on the Gunstrike executes, just keep that in mind, but it's still really good in this game currently. Armor is so damn valuable in Space Marine 2, and even though the amount of armor remaining against melee hits doesn't actually matter, because any amount of armor remaining will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0, even at like a little sliver of armor. This will definitely help out with ranged enemies, because 2 armor bars against like a Devourer when you're in an entire horde of snipers and stuff like that is really damn good, and a lot of melee attacks in this game also only take off 1 bar, so really good value here. The next perk here is Inexorable Salvo. While the servo gun is activating, you don't lose control of the hits, and you cannot be knocked back, and the effect lasts 15 seconds after deactivation. This perk was dog shit last patch. Now in the hotfix, it is way better. Having a 15-second uptime for hitting your Q or like whatever your ability button is once is really good in this game, and it's especially good for the Omniscient Axe, because to get the discharge on this weapon, you do have to perform a light attack, and if you get staggered out of that, you will be disrupted entirely, and that really does suck, even if you do have like double block charges. So this perk is very valuable here, a really good effect, great buff they did to this. Next perk is Replenishing Salvo. Killing or incapacitating an enemy with the servo gun restores one equipment charge. The cooldown is 75 seconds. Equipment recharge in Space Marine 2 is good wherever you can find it, and this one is one of the better ones in the entire game, because a 75-second cooldown is better than like consecutive execution with a 90-second cooldown, and equipment just saves your life, so definitely pick this one up. Though I will say, like, all the options in this column are pretty good. I do think this one's like overall the best, though the turret one is also quite strong. The next perk here is a Fortifying Salvo, killing or incapacitating an enemy with the servo gun restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 30 seconds. Now, armor restore on your servo gun is really good for multiple reasons because, number one, your servo gun gives you back a ton of CHP recovery anyway, so having armor on top of that is a really nice way to say, like, you're in a really bad scenario, you hit your servo gun, you'll get all of your HP back, and you will also get an armor back, which puts you in a far better position to survive. And that's why I like this perk a lot, especially on this build, because the perk up here, Counter-Offensive Protocol, is a little bit redundant because we already have a ton of melee damage. And the one down here, Strategic Gun Strike, is good, but the standard servo gun is actually pretty good against minors and, like, not wasting all the shots, because, like, really all you have to do with this is apply the burn. From the next perk here, which is Omniscience Fury, servo gun shots set enemies on fire. If you are taking the Plasma Enhancement one or the standard servo gun, I just think that this perk is currently the best. The Decapitating Stratagem perk is currently bugged to have, like, no cooldown. You will just have this trigger over and over. That is not intended. I think this one is still better with that in mind, so for now, burn is just the way to go, in my opinion. Now, for the Prestige perks here, I do take Chain Headshots for headshot damage, Indomitable to actually activate your Sentry Gun without actually dying, and Stim Boost for more Stim HP, and the final perk is really up to you with Defensive Stance, Blast Radius, Volatile Sentry, or Furious Gunstrike. You do get fewer gun strikes on this build, so I don't think this one's as good as it is on the balanced version, but if you want to take it, it's still pretty decent because triggering a gun strike is quite easy. That's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Battlefield Repairs is way better now. This is probably the best team perk on the Techmarine currently because armor is just really damn good in Space Marine 2, and hopefully this build guide helps you. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. Aw. That's the nice thing about the standard servo guns. You can just kind of save it for a second there. Wait, is it the new team perk? I sure am. Okay. That was the worst possible time for that to happen. go. That would have killed him if it was in range. The range on the discharge is quite far, but more of a radius thing really than the not like forward distance that much. You like go up and then tap the light attack button. How do you use the lunge while charging? So use the lunge by charging by holding down the button, and like when you tap it again, this is a normal lunge. If you keep holding down the button, that's how you get the stabby stab. You have to ram it into them. Here I'll show you. So for example, like this. See? Oh well, he interrupted us. We're gonna stab off. Is the new no knockback perk good? It is definitely better than before, because before you barely get any benefit out of it. Now you can like use your bolter for 2 seconds on the normal version and immediately get no knockback the entire time, which definitely makes the block version better. I still think the balanced one's probably a bit better, but on this one, it's still pretty good. Do a relic. If it makes block viable now, I'm in. Definitely makes it way better, because the big issue is that this light attack has no knockback, which means charging up your discharge is kind of rough on the block version because you don't get a gun strike in between, usually. But now you can kind of use your servo gun to make up the difference. You a bot, bug, or squid diver? Absolutely a bug. Bug diver.
Smells like fresh munitions. Reloading. Servo, the codes are not here.
That was a waste of watch. I didn't want that. Imagine the tech with a Pyroblaster. It'd be nuts. But I kind of like him with the combi melta too. Am I the only one who likes the old battlefield repairs? I save my marine a lot in the tough spots. New one is good too. I mean, it wasn't like the worst perk idea ever, but it's also a perk that most like you have to know the game fairly well to get full advantage of that perk. Which would mean like because you have to save your stim for like a seriously dangerous hit. And most players don't do that. New one is far more like in line with the standard gameplay loop, which I think is better for most players.
Nothing spotted. Gun strike ready to deploy. Fill
All right.
packs, brothers.
Could be this one.
Slow and steady wins the day. No turning back now. Leave the path. Replenished and ready. Tyranny takes
Oh boy. Oh, of course, like a bajillion snipers back there. Very nice. We do love that. swapping out magazine. Incoming. Helping us with. May the mountain of the Seals prosper. Arming up. That was too easy. There we go. 50% range damage reduction on the charge is definitely nice. Yeah, that would have shredded my armor. Absolutely just like removed it from the entire game. Had I not had that.
That was too easy. 'Replenished and ready.
I also think the shotgun ones that launch and spread projectiles are worse than snipers. They definitely are. Devourers are like... There's not much you can do against them if they have no knockback, except just dodge and shoot.
Objective now. You are making good time. We are going to need it.
Such a good patch, I have to say. Techmarine is so fun. When I first heard about Techmarine, I'm not gonna lie, chat, I was not very hyped. I was like, Techmarine? Who cares about that? Oh, a turret right here, huh? Oh, I also remember we don't have the 50% range damage reduction on charge, so that would have been even better. That actually explains why we took so much damage. I lied, chat. I thought that I had the range damage reduction. That was just a normal devourer. Devourer hit, I guess. We're using all bottom tree on this one.
Deployment has begun. Rates of activation have been observed. The generators hum in the machine god's name. Rain sequence initialized. Delivering payload. Shoulder cannon is battling. X-axis aligned by the Omnissiah's will. Generate fancy sailing mechanistic competitions. Provide service before components are armed.
Oh, this is so good at Minotaur's clearing. Progress is progress, brothers. We are almost there. Personnel, observe your duties. My son Bohan is done will handle this. Come out, you craven Xenos! Gunstrike ready to deploy. I know it lived under my boot. Demolition deployment sequence unlocked. Arrow-bearers logged under the Omnissiah's watchful oculus. Bomb is in place, Command. There is an observation platform overlooking the cryptolithium fields. It will make a good vantage for your ambush. That was a nice run. We take this, actually, so this will buff up our damage a lot. Sanctified Wrath is quite good, and we also get bonus range damage on that, even though it's like a melee buff, because we do have Explosive Enfilade for the 15% bonus. It's only an additive buff, but it's still pretty good. Could the Omniscion Train be the best way to clear generators? The Omniscion Train is probably the best way to kill like any Minotaur's pack in this game currently. You're pretty much invincible against them while you're doing it, because you get free gun strikes and knock them all over. Especially against Hormigons. Alright, try this. Man, I was trying to play the last mission, but I can't complete it because it keeps crashing before Voltus. They should have fixed that today. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's where the extra speed actually helps you out there. I'm pretty sure you can't get that point, that break point with that, the 10% bonus. I haven't tested that entirely. I could probably do that later, but I'm pretty sure the 10% speed is necessary for that.
I can restore this sentry to operational status.
Oh shit. Oh, I was have to just explode his head with that. Okay. Is it so stupid when warriors just block for 10 minutes in melee? Yeah, it's only a problem with the enraged guys because you can't break their block like at all. Unless you have block charges active. Discharge can kind of do it because I cast them a little bit differently. It's all a pain. It is all a pain.
Restoring automated sentry. Swapping out magazine.
Okay. Oh, another one. That's awkward. What are your tips on using auxiliary grenades? So, I've seen a lot of people talk about this class being like a grenade spammer, and he kind of is, but the best use of your grenades in this game is as like a finisher. So let's say you do like a big discharge, right? And you put everybody into execute. Well, the quickest way to kill all those guys is just like shoot a grenade or two at them. That'll save you a lot of time in executes, and on top of that, these things have incredible CHP recovery. All right. But usually you save your grenades for like contested health recovery. The latest operation is awesome. The Techmarine ain't too bad either. Although some little tweaks over here and there in regards to the class perks wouldn't hurt. I definitely agree with that. Can I hit this guy from over here? No, I can't. Oh, now I can maybe? No. Oh boy. Wow, 3 parry bugs in that? Okay. Just did not shoot the guy I wanted to shoot, I guess. That sucks it didn't shoot the zone throw. That really did throw us off a bit there.
You are clear to detonate. Cook those rotten bastards. Understood. Readying the charge. What in damnation is going on down there? We have to trigger the bomb. We are dead.
There we go.
I still have a million times on prospects. Explain yourselves. They have us pinlord.
I think that would have gone far more smoothly had the
Gunstrike ready to deploy.
servo gun actually targeted the zone throw. The one thing I actually wanted to shoot there, but that's okay.
Extraction complete.
Are you solo? Yeah, that was solo. That was for the All-Father, as they say. The big question is the cooldown on the server going to recharge perk broken? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Not just you. They flubbed it on the update. Thousand kills, goddamn.